오늘의 영어 뉴스. 나사 Artemis Moon rocket second launch attempt called off. The launch of NASA's new Artemis 1 moon rocket is facing a potential lengthy delay after a second postponement. Controllers tried and failed again on Saturday to get the Space Launch System (SLS) vehicle to lift off, but were unable to stop a fuel leak. Engineers now need to inspect the rocket, and any possible repairs may need to happen in the workshop rather than on the launch pad. The whole process is certain to lead to a delay of several weeks. It means we may not see a third launch attempt before mid-October at the earliest. The SLS is the most powerful rocket ever developed by the U.S. Space Agency and is designed to send astronauts and their equipment back to the moon after an absence of 50 years. Much of the enormous thrust comes from burning almost 3 million liters of super cold liquid hydrogen and oxygen in 4 big engines on the vehicle's underside. But when controllers sent the early morning command to fill the rocket's hydrogen tank, an alarm went off, indicating there was a leak. The problem was traced to the connection where the hydrogen was being pumped into the vehicle. Controllers tried a number of fixes, including allowing the hardware to warm up for short periods to reset the seal, but they were not successful. The Artemis 1 mission is unscrewed, but NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said the rocket's future role in human spaceflight meant extreme care was still required in its operation. "We'll go when it's ready," he stressed. "We don't go until then, and we make sure it's right before we put humans up on top of it. There are battery systems on this rocket that will soon need inspection, and if the vehicle has to be rolled back to the engineering building for further work, it could be mid-October before we see it again on the launch pad." NASA astronaut Jenna Cardman said she understood everyone's frustration, but they should recognize the challenge of working with super cold propellants. Liquid hydrogen is a fickle substance. It's difficult to handle, but the fact that we are able to get this much data is really helpful. I think we'll be able to resolve this issue in the future. Every time we encounter an issue, it makes us that much wiser the next time, she told BBC News. Saturday's attempt to dispatch the SLS rocket had been scheduled for the start of a 2-hour window beginning at 14:17 local time. The 100-meter tall vehicle's objective is to hurl a human-rated capsule called Orion in the direction of the moon, something that hasn't happened since Project Apollo ended in 1972. NASA first tried to launch SLS on Monday, but that bid was ultimately scrapped because controllers couldn't be sure the 4 big engines under the rocket's core stage were properly prepared for flight. When the SLS does get away, it is sure to be a spectacular sight. It's gonna be shuttle on steroids, said Doug Hurley, who was the pilot on the very last shuttle mission in 2011. The former astronaut now works for Northrop Grumman, who make the big white solid boosters on the sides of the SLS. What I always thought was the coolest thing about shuttle launches was you saw it lift up and it was well clear of the tower before you heard anything, and then it was even a little longer before you felt it, he explained. Thrust to weight wise, SLS is pretty close to what a shuttle was. Apollo's Saturn V rocket was drastically different. I never saw it in person, but it lumbered clear of the pad. For shuttle, it seemed like it was clear in an instant, almost as soon as the boosters were lit. SLS should be the same, he told BBC News.